I read Winston Churchill's quote where he said, if you don't vote Liberal before the age of 30, you don't have a heart. And if you don't vote Conservative after the age of 30, you don't have a brain.
And, you know, I'm in the hands of Canadians. I've gone out and been sharing my message, hoping that it will resonate, and it is.
I'm Soos here for Rebel News, and we are on location for night 2 of Joseph Bourgault's campaign here in Calgary. Last night he was in Airdrie. Last night mere dozens on hand. Tonight probably about 100. The folks last night did commit that each of them would bring some people. Many of them were also in attendance at Dr. Leslyn Lewis's event, as well as Pierre Poilievre's event. But they shared with us that after what they heard from Joseph Bourgault last night, they are true believers. They are on board with his campaign. We're going to touch base with these folks again tonight, have conversations with them about why they continue to support Joseph Bourgault, and continue to cover this leadership race like nobody else. If you want to catch all of our coverage, you can do so at leadershipreports.ca.
And I know that the Western alienation that we're dealing with, it's because for too many years, decades, Albertans have dealt with the feelings of being lied to and being betrayed and being attacked. And so there are other provinces that are dealing with similar feelings. Newfoundland, for example, I hear from them similarly. And so the only way that I can see that we can correct those problems is by electing honest, truth-seeking, principled, fiscal, and social conservatives in our country.
He means what he says what he means, he's got ethics. The system currently is corrupt. We need an outsider to clean things up at many levels, which he's articulated tonight, and I'm 100% behind him.
Yeah, I think we're gaining momentum because of Joseph's message using my social media platform. We're posting a lot of stuff on my platform. People are resonating with, you know, the integrity and you know, like I said last night, Joe's the only businessman in this race. You know,
all of our choices have consequences, and so it's upon us. God gave us a brain to think and reason with, to pursue truth, to gather the facts, to make informed decisions. So number 4, freedom and personal responsibility.
I really do agree with the fact that we have to, you know, put God first and put our love to God and the people first, definitely. And I'm an immigrant myself, and I came to Canada to find more freedoms, and the fact that, you know, almost right as we came, they started to be suspended, you know, was kind of like a downfall of that. And so we want to see more freedoms and more love towards God in this country.
You know, I'm a registered nurse from British Columbia, and I advocate for the health care of Canadians, no matter what province they're in, and that's what I really appreciate about Joseph. He knows his healthcare stuff. He's had it both professionally and personally. He owns a health food store. He's, you know, been on his deathbed, and he knows what Canadians need to be healthy. And so I stand beside Joseph in that regard.
To me, I started working on this when I was in my 20s, when Pierre Trudeau was in office, and I could see he was a tax and spend liberally. He spent, in 2019 dollars adjusted for inflation, Pierre Trudeau spent $500 billion, he added $500 billion to our national debt. And so I could see that that was a problem. And I admit my sin, I voted a Liberal in 1974 when I was 18 years old. But by the age of 20, I had it figured out that this was not good for our country. And I read Winston Churchill's quote where he said, if you don't vote Liberal before the age of 30, you don't have a heart. And if you don't vote Conservative after the age of 30, you don't have a brain.
And, you know, I'm in the hands of Canadians. I've gone out and been sharing my message, hoping that it will resonate, and it is. If I can stay in the race, I know that I'll be getting out then across the country, and I know I have the ideas to help the Conservative Party win in a general election. I don't believe that Pierre Poilievre or any of the other candidates have the ideas that's going to enable that's going to get Liberals, Independents, Liberals voting for the Conservative Party. I feel like I've worked on this for 40 years now, and so I feel I have the ideas to help the Conservative Party win in a general election that the other candidates simply do not have. And I also have the leadership skills that the other candidates do not have, proven leadership skills.
I kind of was putting my favor in the other guy over there that talked about always just inflation. But as I keep watching for the last month, all we hear is just inflation, just inflation. So what's this guy really doing? Where Joe's out here, he's coming up with different ways. He's problem solving, he's coming up with different ideas, solutions, and he's talking more about Canadians, not just Ottawa.
Well, Joseph Bourgault just finished addressing the crowd here, speaking to them at length. Other speakers are attending this event and speaking as well, and they're going to carry on throughout the evening. We had a chance to speak with some people on their opinions and talk about Joseph Bourgault. And as always, we're going to continue to follow these campaigns and all of the leadership campaigns for the Conservative Party of Canada's leadership as they progress until finally the person who is going to take on Justin Trudeau is elected to lead the Conservatives of Canada. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. Once again, we saw virtually no other media coming out covering these events. We're very often the only people on the ground. So if you want to make sure you don't miss a thing, and not just from the front-runner candidates, but all the candidates in this leadership race for the Conservative Party of Canada, make sure you go to leadershipreports.ca.